Tonight on News Hour, 2 Borno local government councils still under Boko Haram control. Zamfara State Governor calls for deployment of special forces and Tucano jets to curb incessant killings as federal government delegation pays sympathy visit. And Nigeria's government finally lifts ban on Twitter. 8 killed in car bomb attack outside Mogadishu Airport in Somalia. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Zainab Bala. Chairman, Senate Committee on Army Ali Ndume wants the theater commander of Operation Hadinkai to deal with ISWAP fighters before the situation becomes a serious threat in the northeast. The Senate Army Committee is on oversight visit to Maimalari cantonment in Maiduguri. Ndume said the government will spend 17 trillion naira on security across country, adding that the visit is to interface with the troops on challenges and way forward in ending insurgency in Borno State.
As Boko Haram are surrendering in droves, the strength of the ISWAP is also manifesting and growing, especially in the southern Borno. Peace is priceless. We are spending 17 trillion this year. But I can say here again that in the period where we are faced with challenges in almost all the 36 states, do more so that under your leadership in this year 2022, it will be written in bold of history that you, Major General C.J. Musha, just as I mentioned, Obasanjo brought the Civil War to end, you will be the one that will bring the insurgency in the northeast back.
Meanwhile, Governor Umar Zulum says 2 local governments, Guzalama and Abadem, are still under the control of Boko Haram terrorists. The governor said this when he received members of Army Senate Committee at the State Government House in Maiduguri, explained that when Boko Haram fighters surrendered, peace had relatively returned in 11 local governments which have encountered encouraged farming in the areas.
We received not less than 20,000 since we started, more than 20,000. Also, this one, about 5,000 are fighters. And what is ongoing in the bush is a generation. They continue to multiply themselves. They are given births and they are growing up. Whether they are fighters or not, their population is good to be curtailed. 2 of our local government headquarters areas are still under the control of Boko Haram. Manupatori, which is Guzamala, Abadam local government and Guzamala local government areas. We want to see this local government are taken over by the owners. Who are the owners? Government of Borno State and the 2 local government areas. Leadership before the expiration of the tenure of this administration. But I want to also give you good tidings that the Nigerian Army is cooperating with us in ensuring that 2 local government areas are open for common operation.
Zamfara State Governor Bello Matoole seeks deployment of newly procured Super Tucano jets and Amarif personnel carriers to end killings by bandits in the state. The governor made the call when he received federal government delegation on condolence visit to the state over killing of dozens of people. The report.
The chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC Governors Forum and his Katsina State counterpart said they are in Zamfara State to condole with the government and people of the state over the attack on 8 communities in Bukuyum and Anka local government areas of the state where at least 58 people were killed. Governor Atiku Bagudu said in the last few years, the federal and state governments have been doing a lot to address the security challenges facing the country. He, however, stated that more resources, community mobilization, support of the people are needed to flush out the bandits.
Representing our colleagues in the Progressive Governors Forum, Northwest Governors Northern Governors and the Nigerian Governors Forum are visited Zamfara State Government House to commiserate with our brother, Right Honorable Bello Matawalle, Executive Governor of Zamfara, and the people of Zamfara State over the tragic incidents of the last few days that led to loss of innocent lives, and to also show appreciation and commendation to what our brother has been doing about security in the state. Most recently, he has been in Niger Republic, where, with the permission of President Muhammadu Buhari, he sought assistance and cooperation of the Nigerian president. And all around the country, he has been doing a lot, both within the state and within the zone, in order to mobilize more effort towards eradicating banditry, and a lot of success have been recorded.
Aminu Masari said without peace, nobody can live in Zamfara State, hence the need for communities to support security agencies by providing credible intelligence so that they can collectively root out the criminal elements to restore peace and order.
We should not use the name of God recklessly. We should use the name of Allah with firm belief and commitment in our minds that we mean what we say. But this leadership, I assure you, we are going to walk our talk. We will reclaim our land. We will, inshallah. We will not allow these bandits.
Matawalle said his administration will not rest on its oars until it brings an end to the attacks on communities and ensure peace returns to Zamfara State.
Your Excellencies, this humane spirit, the genuine commitment of our great party who put the people first in all its plans, and the grassroots support are part of the reason for the successes of our great party UPC. A visit of this nature will further improve to our people that the APC is indeed a people-centered party. The incident that occurred at Rupadea, Bukun, local government area, and the 7 villages in Anka local government area is indeed tragic.
The Zamfara State Governor thanked the Progressives Governors Forum for identifying with the state government and its people.
Meanwhile, Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawalle seeks deployment of newly procured Super Tucano jets and armored personnel carriers to end killings by bandits in the state.
The federal government's delegation is in Zamfara State to commiserate with the people and government over the recent bandits' attack in some communities in Anka and Bukuyum local government areas, where dozens were killed. Defense Minister Bashir Magashi pledged federal government's commitment to rid the country of banditry and security challenges.
Condone the families of all those who lost their lives in the efforts to maintain peace in Zamfara State, especially those from Anka and Bukuyum, for what actually happened. So we have the details. We want to assure you that the government will just look the other side without coming to the aid of the victims and the survival of the families. And the government would encourage and assist the government of Zamfara State to do what is necessary, bring out the villages that are affected by these bandits' activities. So on behalf of the federal government, the Commander-in-Chief would like on his behalf to commiserate with the people of Zamfara for the loss of lives and properties as a result of the incidents that happened in Anka and Bukwa.
Governor Bello Matawalle wants the federal government to secure more military hardwares and deploy in fighting banditry, insurgency and other criminalities in the country. He said that Zamfara forests have become hideouts for bandits who step out of the state to commit their crimes in any part of the country and return to hide in the forests.
This will be foreseen from the recent calls by some leaders for the people to take up arms to defend themselves. It is a sign of lawlessness when the state lost its monopoly over the instrument of cohesion. As a matter of urgency, the federal government should procure armed personnel carrier APC and deploy them across all parts of the country. If at least 100 APC can be made available, they will go a long way in tuning the tide of the war against the bandit in a short period of time, inshallah. I want to draw the attention of the federal government to the fact that the pocket of insurgency in many parts of the north are interrelated in some instances. Evidence has been found of connections between Boko Haram and some of the bandit groups operating in the northwest. There should be a comprehensive review of strategy of fighting insurgency. We need a more workable plan of action tailored explicitly in tune with the reality on the ground. This is a glaring call for us to step up effort in the fight before the dreadful monster consume our region and the country as a whole.
The state has become the epicenter of banditry, with bandit leaders like Bello Turji in control of ungoverned spaces in parts of the state.
One person has been discovered killed in the early hours of Tuesday in Rumi village, Chukun local government area of Kaduna State. Now, residents of the community told Trust TV that they woke up and saw an unidentified male corpse at Alkali Road, close to the police outpost in the area.
Bandits had abducted 10 persons after killing one in Bagi Villa in Chukun local government area of Kaduna State on Tuesday morning. Another tragedy occurred when residents of Romi discovered the unidentified corpse.
Once we woke up this early morning, so when I heard people making noise, I said, what is that? They say somebody, whether he's drunk or dead, I don't know. I said, let me come and see myself. So when we come out now, we find out that that person is there. So there is nothing we can do. The next thing is just let us go to the station there and then invite the police so that they will help us, so that one can get a chance and then go and look for in daily bread. No blood stain, no bullet wound, nothing. We didn't see nothing like maybe somebody stabbed him or whatever, struggle or fight or whatever. We didn't see anything.
Timothy Peter, a member of the Red Cross Service Group in Kaduna State, says they are yet to ascertain the cause of the death.
It's not an attack. We don't know of the attack. It's a corpse. We need to identify the corpse. But unfortunately, they could only allow me to get the picture of the corpse and no information regarding what happened to the corpse. So as I'm talking to you now, from my own point of view, I don't have a relative information to what happened to the corpse.
Paul Jatto, an elder in the community, calls on the government to beef up security in the areas to avoid further occurrences.
I woke up this morning to see an unidentified corpse just at the side of the car there. We try to see if people that comes around, maybe somebody could identify him, but to no avail.
I understand that we should be positive and be pessimistic, and I am, but I will not go to say that we can never stop.
A wound on his hand, and the way he fell, there was sand on the left side of his face, and there was like palm oil, red oil on his lips.
Personnel of the police under Operation Yaki Special Force later evacuated the body and deposited it in the hospital.
At least 30 vigilantes are feared dead, several others missing after a bloody clash with terrorists in Gasso local government area of Taraba State on Tuesday afternoon. The Mieti Allah and local vigilantes, including some from Plateau, on Tuesday afternoon organized themselves and went into the forest with intention of flushing out the terrorists from their camp located in the forest in Karbawi near Karal village, which is very close to Gasso town. According to Daily Trust, the terrorists got the information of the coming of the vigilantes through an informant and stationed their members in strategic positions, giving them advantage over the vigilante. However, a spokesperson of Taraba Police Command, DSP Usman Abdullahi, confirmed the incident and said scores of terrorists are killed while only 2 vigilantes died during the encounter. Elsewhere, police in Kano have arrested one Awole Abdurrashid alias Lauje for allegedly kidnapping and murdering a 13-year-old girl. The police spokesperson in Kano, Abdullahi Kiyawa, said this in a statement on Tuesday. Kiyawa said the suspect kidnapped the girl and took her to an uncompleted building where he strangled her, cut her throat and buried her remains in a shallow grave, adding that the suspect then demanded a ransom of 1 million naira from her parents. The police said Abdurrashid confessed that he had earlier kidnapped a 3-year-old brother of the victim and demanded a ransom of 2 million naira. Nigeria's government has lifted the suspension it slammed on Twitter operations in Nigeria after approval by President Muhammadu Buhari. Chairman Technical Committee, Nigeria Twitter Engagement and Director General National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDDA, Kashifu Inuwa, announced the government's decision. Kashifu, in a statement in Abuja, said the approval is given following a memo written to the President by Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami. Nigeria on June 5th announced indefinite ban on Twitter after the social media platform deleted tweets of President Buhari warning people in the southeast against secession. Elsewhere, Nigeria Customs Service says its operatives had intercepted 3,620 rounds of ammunition in Kwara State. The ammunition packs in 14 cartons were intercepted at Kaburu Burten local government area of Kwara State, a border community between Nigeria and Benin Republic. The report.
The Kwara area commander of the Nigerian Customs Service, Controller Hussaini Ahmed, disclosed this while addressing a news conference in Ilori. He said that a car was searched at Bokoro based on intelligence report and found to contain the pump-action cartridges suspected to have been smuggled into the country. The ammunition, he added, is worth 1,444,000 naira. Still on the seizure for the year, he said 2,971 bags of parboiled rice were seized. On revenue drive, Controller Ahmed also disclosed that his command generated and remitted a total of 9.8 billion naira between January and December last year.
I make bold to say that from January 2021 to December 2021, the command has generated and remitted the sum of 9,848,505,922 naira 48 kobo, which surpass the previous or 2020 revenue with 2,942,090,047 naira 18 kobo. Under my leadership as the Pioneer Custom Area Controller from July 2019 to December 2021, which is barely 29 months now, the command has generated and remitted the sum of 19,159,240,134,19 kobo to the Federation account.
This is 2 billion naira higher than the 2019 revenue.
In another seizure, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) in the early hours of Wednesday arrested a skit maker, Sunday Joshua, popularly known on social media as The General, following the raid of a notorious drug joint at Orchid Estate, Lekki area of Lagos State. A statement by NDLEA's Director, Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, said acting on credible intelligence, narcotic officers stormed the drug joint in the estate where 3 suspects were arrested with illicit drugs, including 200 sachets of 225 milligrams tramadol and 1.5 kilograms of cannabis sativa. In the course of the operation, some persons, including the suspected dealer, ran away with bags of suspected to contain exhibits. Femi said a trail showed they ran into a house located at 2B Salu Akilolu Way, Orchid Estate, which is the residence of 22-year-old Sunday Joshua, aka The General. The young men started to make noise to prevent a search. The operatives introduced themselves as officers of NDLEA and submitted themselves for search before entry. This was done and a search was conducted. The search led to the recovery of drug exhibits including cannabis sativa, tramadol, 225 milligrams and some paraphernalia for drug use. This was after the suspect had requested to record on video the search which the officers, out of sense of civility, allowed. The video trending on social media was the moment the suspect and his friends decided to disrupt the bid to conduct a search of the house. You're still watching News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up, the story of the twin water vendors Hassan and Hussein. This and more after the break. Do stay.
The board and management of Media Trust Limited invites the general public to its annual Daily Trust Dialogue, themed 2023, The Politics, Economy and Insecurity. Date, 20th January 2022. Location, NAF Conference Center and Suites, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Chairman of the occasion, former Head of State, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, GCFR. Guest Speaker, Governor of Kaduna State, Malan Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai. Guest Speaker, Governor of Ebonyi State, Engineer David Umahi. Guest Speaker, former Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mrs. Ifueko Omoigui Okauru. Moderator, Executive Director, Daria Media Nigeria Limited, Kadariya Ahmed. The event will be transmitted live on Trust TV, and all participants must observe COVID-19 protocols and wear their face masks.
January 15th every year, Nigeria observes the Armed Forces Remembrance Day in honor of soldiers who gave their lives for the unity of the nation. All across the country, wreaths are laid, speeches are made, government officials attend elaborate parades performed by soldiers and the Nigerian Legion. What is celebrated is the surrender of the secessionist Biafran forces to the Nigerian government on January 15, 1917. It is also a day set aside to celebrate war veterans who laid their lives during the World War. January 15th was also the day the first military coup took place in Nigeria. January 15th, 1966 and January 15th, 1970 all hold deep significance in the history of the country. Is this a mere coincidence? Join us on Trust TV as we bring you an exclusive broadcast of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day on January 15th, 2022.
All right, welcome back to the program. This is News Hour, our top stories. Chairman, Senate Committee on Army, Ali Ndumi, wants the theater commander of Operation Hatlin Kai to deal with ISWAP fighters before the situation becomes a serious threat in the northeast. One person has been discovered killed in the early hours of Tuesday in Rumi Village, Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. Still ahead, commercial motorcycle operators have suspended their strike by 1 week. The strike action embarked on by the Tricycle Riders Association in Kano State turned violent on Wednesday as those who defy the strike order are attacked by hoodlums. Trust TV's Idris Jabril reports.
Now, 3 days since the tricycle riders in Kano State commenced their strike action, the situation seems to have been taking a new dimension. This tricycle that you are seeing here in Kano Roads and Traffic Agency were brought in by different tricycle riders after they were vandalized by some hoodlums in many parts of the state. Earlier yesterday, the Association of Tricycle Riders in Kano called on its members to return to work, but it appears there are different factions of the Tricycle Association. Another faction instructed the riders not to come out. So as of today, some people have came out for their businesses and others choose to remain at home. So it appears those who remain at home are now following street by street, attacking those who came out. Now, earlier today, the Managing Director of Kano Roads and Traffic Agency informed us that the state governor has directed the agency to repair any tricycle that was vandalized or damaged in the course of carrying out their operation. So the situation here in Kano is in two ways. One association has called on the riders to return to work, and the other association has instructed the riders to continue staying at home, arguing that they have not reached any logical conclusion between the Association of Tricycle Riders and the Kano State government. So today, some have come out, some are still at home. That's why those who are still at home are probably the ones attacking those who came out. And now they have brought their tricycle to Kano Roads and Traffic Agency to be repaired.
The students' wing of the Coalition of Northern Groups has condemned plans by tertiary institutions in the northern part of the country to increase its tuition fee as well as other levies. The national coordinator of the group, Jamilu Aliyu, who raised the issues during a press conference in Abuja, said institutions such as Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi and Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria had increased their tuition by over 100%, while Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University, Lapei in Niger State and some others recorded an over 60% increase. The group, however, added that the hike will prevent millions of poor Nigerians access to education, thereby increasing the rate of criminality and other vices in the country.
Is disturbed by reports from its state chapters of an attempt by the federal and state governments to commercialize education to make it the exclusive preserve of treasury looters at the expense of children of millions of less privileged Nigerians. The CNG student wing hereby condemns in the strongest terms the hike in tuition fees as an untimely, immoral, unconscionable, height of insensitivity, an unacceptable attempt to deny the children of the poor access to affordable education, entrench class dichotomy and widen the gap between the rich and the poor. We find it ridiculous and sad that stakeholders, particularly the lawmakers, cannot summon the courage to speak or stand with the people that sacrifice so much to see them in office at this trying time to demand an immediate reversal in the hike. Such increase in a country in which most of its citizens were living below poverty line will have negative implications for human capital development. If the fees hike is not reviewed downward, it might force many students to drop out of school and increase social biases, as students might be compelled to survive by all means. We therefore urge the government at all levels to revert the old fee to enable students from poor and marginalized families to access tertiary education and break the chain of poverty.
Now, the practice of water vending in many Nigerian cities has taken numerous forms, which include the pushing of wheelbarrows to the use of jerry cans. This is the story of 50-year-old twin Hassan and Hussein, who have sold water in push carts in Abuja for over 40 years.
My name is Hassan Muhammadu. I've spent over 20 years selling water in a pushcart. I have 7 children. My twin also has 7. My name is Husseini Muhammadu. If there is scarcity of water, we sell a cart containing 10 jerry cans for 1,000 naira. If there is no scarcity, we sell it for 500 naira. We go through a lot to get water.
Elsewhere, residents of Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital, describe the state government's fight against illegal oil bunkering and soot in the state as a welcome development. The state has been confronting perennial soot emission owing to operatives of illegal refinery in the state. The report.
The soot emission in Port Harcourt and its environs continues to be a major concern for residents who attribute the cause to illegal oil bunkering and gas flaring by multinational companies in the Niger Delta. Speaking in Port Harcourt, some residents say for the directive to yield the desired result, there is need for provision of alternative means of livelihood for those involved in the act, especially modular refineries.
And I do not think the Rivers State government is doing enough to tackle the issue of soot. If enough was being done, the governor would have released the report of the committee he set up on soot, which we've not seen the report today. or if we see that report, which is a process of investigation, we'll get to know the sources of these suits. I know that artisanal crude oil refining site is being seen as the only source. It is not actually the only source, but because that report is not out, we can't really identify the percentage of pollution and black soot that the artisanal refining is contributing to this. So I think the governor has to do more beyond what he's currently doing to address the issue of soot in Rivers State, and especially to provide alternatives for youths who are involved in artisanal crude oil refining.
If the state government said the local government should clamp down on bunkering activities, it is going to be a holistic matter where responsible men of the society will be engaged to engage this bunkering. It can be a dialogue thing. But if you say go and get youths, boys that are not properly fed, to go and start fighting bunkering, of course, these bunkerers will take care of these boys and then this menace will continue.
It will be recalled that in the past few months, Petron has been fighting this battle. We have been going from places to places, smoking out the operators of artisanal refinery, otherwise known as Mofire in Rivers State. We are happy that the Rivers State government has come all out through the directives of the governor to the local government chairman to fight this fight.
Residents suggest that the best way to curb illegal oil bunkering is employment generation, calling on the federal government to create jobs for the youths so as to engage them in viable economic ventures.
The issue of clean and renewable energy is also another area that I think that if the capacity of youths are developed and they are given skills in that direction, it will help to do. We here at Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, we are working at modalities of creating and establishing solar farms in communities starting this 2022, so that youths who are involved in these processes can get other alternative opportunities within and around those solar power systems.
Go to the villages, they will tell you they prefer that fire kerosene just for them to survive because it is cheap. Yet government does not think of how to produce, bring it down. What happens to the refineries? Is it wrong for a state government to build a refinery? Every Niger Delta state is big. They can build refineries for them, produce. If it is the modular refineries, you do it and do it well. Let the boys come, engage them.
Diplomatic solution can also be on stream. If you arrest or clamp down on the artisanal refinery operators, you bring them to book and give them an alternative of setting up a modular refinery. I'm sure that between now and the next few months, this area would have been turned around to become an employment hub for the nation.
The people commend the State Police Command for the swift action in the fight against illegal oil bunkering towards reducing the level of soot in the state.
All right, you're still watching News Hour on Trust Television. I'll see you on the other side of the break. Do stay. Welcome back. And now to some political matters. The People's Democratic Party, PDP in Zamfara State, has alleged that the state government planned to silence the opposition by going after the principal officers of the party using security agencies. The party claimed that the state government had secured a warrant to arrest its deputy chairman, Professor Kabiru Jabaka, over asking Governor Bello Matawalle to account for 31 billion cash allocation and security vote. The PDP state chairman, Colonel Bala Mande, retired, raised the alarm while addressing newsmen shortly after their maiden joint meeting with members of the PDP Working Committee and the state executives in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital. The report.
Zamfara State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, said it will resist any attempt by the state government to intimidate and harass its members. The major opposition PDP in the state alleged that the state government planned to use instrument of state to arrest its principal officers with the aim of silencing the PDP to play its role of opposition in Zamfara State. They appealed to the United States of America, United Kingdom and other advanced democracies to deny visa to persons who are exhibiting undemocratic practices in Nigeria.
We are disturbed by the information we are getting that the government of the state has a plan to go after our principal officers and other party members, using the instruments of the state to coerce, intimidate, and cajole our membership, all aimed at silencing the main opposition party in the state, the People's Democratic Party, PDP. We shall not yield, we shall not succumb, and no intimidation or harassment will make us to remain silent.
Chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Zamfara State, retired Colonel Bala Mande, said the PDP will not succumb to intimidation to be silenced, and if the state government wants the opposition parties to be silenced, it should do the right thing to benefit people of the state.
So opposition has to speak out, and that is our cry, and we shall continue to speak out. But we are calling on responsible organizations and responsible agencies of government to be alive to their responsibility. I see no reason why a judge should give out arrest warrant when there is no offense. He should investigate if there is any offense before he should arrest warrant.
The ruling faction of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in a reaction described the allegations by the People's Democratic Party as unfounded, baseless and false. The publicity secretary of the APC, loyal to Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State, Yusuf Idris, said the judiciary and security agencies are independent and do not take directive from the state government.
And it is very unfortunate for him that he cannot even differentiate between the structures of the state government and the structure of the security agencies. It's very disheartening. And what is the relationship between the state government and even the order or any warrant of arrest to anybody? Judiciary is an independent body, and the executives in the state are independent body, likewise legislature. So it's their deeds, their wrong deeds, that is what is pursuing them. That is why they are scared of their act. Because if they don't have any skeleton in their cupboard, why will they run away?
The APC said the PDP only wants to hit the politics and divert the attention of the focused leadership of Governor Bello Matawalle from providing dividends of democracy to citizens of Zamfara State.
Ahead of the forthcoming APC's National Convention for Northeast Zonal Youth Leader election, Shatima Umar has indicated interest to contest for the position. The young politician made the reaffirmation to run for the position at a press conference in Maiduguri. He said his decision to seek for the office is to reposition the party and represent the social and economic needs of the young people at the party level.
It's lack of empowerment. People will go to school, graduate, and at the end of time there is no job. They will keep on applying for a job. They will bring certain restrictions, certain criteria that are beyond those youth. Youth and women go in the same line. I personally have passion for that passion for women inclusion. And so we'll make sure that anything we are going to do has to do the youth, the women too, will be given that opportunity to be part of, because we believe that they are mothers
for the city, to the entire Northeast youth, to give him the maximum support, and inshallah we will support him both in our state and our neighboring state like Yobe,
and it is only with your way to reply. Let's rally around for the team of women. Let's utilize all avenues we have at hand to see that we take him to the next level.
Now let's join Chamun Dabeng for business news.
Federal government has deducted the number and duration of trips made abroad by ministers and other categories of government officials and other special allowances as it is set to cut costs to achieve fiscal prudence. Director of Information Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Willie Bassi, in a statement said the President, Muhammadu Buhari, will also cut down the number of persons permitted to travel with ministers and other government officials for official trips. Moving forward, all ministries, departments and agencies are required to submit their yearly travel plans for statutory meetings and engagements to the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and or the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation for express clearance within the first quarter of the fiscal year before implementation. In addition, only trips beneficial to the country must be embarked upon by the affected officials, noting also that ministers and other categories of government officials must not travel more than twice within a quarter of a year except with the permission of the President. Nigeria Labour Congress has directed its members, affiliate unions and civil society partners to prepare for the planned January 27th and February 1st nationwide protests against the proposed removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government. NLC also asked its affiliates nationwide to mobilize their members for the rallies and ensure total compliance with the nationwide protest. Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry LCCI projections say Nigeria's debt stock may hit 40 trillion naira by the end of the 2021 financial year, citing concerns about elevated debt servicing to revenue ratio this year. The chamber says the low-yield environment is expected to keep domestic borrowings elevated in the short term as it favors the federal government in mobilizing funds at lower rates, just as the reality of new taxes, tariffs and levies being imposed on consumers from this year becomes apparent. With new changes in the recently assented Finance Act 2021, the Chamber sounded a note of warning that the amendments of the Fiscal Responsibility Act to enable government to borrow for critical reforms of significant national impact may lead to abuse as it has no clear definition. Shippers Association of Lagos State, SALS, is set to protest what it referred to as a lack of protection of cargo owners by the federal government through the Nigerian Shippers Council. Spokesman for SALS, Kayode Farinto, stated that if shippers in Lagos are no longer housed under the NSC accommodation arrangement, their voices will be heard. Nigerian Shippers Council, NSC, regulates port and shipping activities, but SALS believes that cargo owners suffer ill treatment at the hands of terminal operators. Federal government has announced a new national dairy policy is underway to cut importation of related products, increase local production and enhance marketing in the country. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Ernest Omakihe, disclosed this at a workshop on the national dairy policy in Abuja. He said the government had carefully followed all the preliminary steps towards producing a new dairy policy, leading to the validation of the draft policy document. Omakihe also stated that the draft policy would support the implementation of the National Agricultural Technology and Innovation Plan, NATIP, and provide a defined direction for the country's dairy industry, where all players at whatever level would be expected to abide by rules of operation in terms of production, processing, and marketing of dairy products. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
And on the foreign scene, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has admitted to attending a garden party at his Downing Street residence during a coronavirus lockdown in May 2020. Let's join Aisha Haruna for more.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has admitted to attending a garden party at his Downing Street residence during a coronavirus lockdown in May 2020. breaching his government's own pandemic rules. Addressing Parliament on Wednesday, Johnson apologized to the public for his actions, but deflected opposition demands for his resignation. Johnson said he is regretful, but had thought at the time the May 20 gathering is a work event, an excuse that was roundly derided by critics on the social media. Meanwhile, opposition Labour Party leader Keir Starmer said Johnson's statement is offensive to the British public.
Mr. Speaker, I want to apologise. I know that millions of people across this country have made extraordinary sacrifices over the last 18 months. I know the anguish that they have been through, unable to mourn their relatives, unable to live their lives as they want or to do the things they love. And I know the rage they feel with me and with the government I lead when they think that in Downing Street itself the rules are not being properly followed by the people who make the rules.
Russia and China have blocked the United Nations Security Council from supporting a decision by the West African Economic Bloc, ECOWAS, to impose new sanctions on Mali after its military leaders proposed staying in power for up to 5 years before staging elections. A French-drafted council statement endorsing the sanctions failed to be approved in closed-door consultations on Tuesday, prompting 3 African Council members, namely Kenya, Ghana and Gabon, to speak to reporters to back the regional bloc's position. On Sunday, leaders from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, suspended most commercial and financial aid to Mali, closed land and air borders with the states concerned, and activated the bloc's standby force, saying it will have to be ready for any eventuality. And finally, at least 8 people have been killed in a car explosion in the Somali capital, Mogadishu. Head of the city's ambulance service, Abdulkadir Abdurrahman, said the car bomb targeted a convoy, including bulletproof cars using Avison Street. The owner of the convoy is unknown. The attack was claimed by the Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda-linked armed group fighting to overthrow the country's UN-backed government. The group said it was targeting foreign officers.
And in sports, action continues in African Cup of Nations Group F, where Tunisia lost to Mali. Adeni Ajishafi has the latest on sports.
Action continues in African Cup of Nations Group F, where Tunisia lost to Mali by a lone goal. A penalty converted by Ibrahima Kone in the 48th minute lifts the Eagles of Mali over Tunisia. The Carthage Eagles of Tunisia had a tough match against the Eagles of Mali as both teams were equal to the task. The first red card in the competition issued to El Bilal Touré in the 87th minute got lots of reactions on Zambian referee Gianni Zikazwe. Zikazwe ends the match at 89th minute to the amazement of Tunisia officials who protested against the decision after he had earlier ends the game in the 85th minute in a dramatic encounter. In the second match, play in Group F between Mauritania and Gambia at Stade Omnisport de Limbe, Abli Jallo puts Gambia ahead of Mauritania in the 10th minute in the scoreline that stood till end as Gambia celebrates win over Mauritania. Niger Tornadoes of Minna have been sanctioned to play their home matches in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and also fined 5.5 million naira by the league management company LMC. In a decision about match officials' assault and insecurity during Niger Tornadoes Rivers United clash in Ilorin, LMC sanctioned Tornadoes for breach of NPFL rules and framework in the course of the match. Niger Tornadoes and 2 of their officials have been sanctioned just as LMC requested the Nigerian Referees Appointment Committee to review the performance of the center referee in the match day 5 fixture. Tornadoes are to play their next 3 home matches at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abuja and a suspended 2 points deduction. Umar Farouk, chief coach of Niger Tornadoes, charged for assault on referee when he struck a blow to referee's head. LMC expelled Farouk from all MPFL organized activities with immediate effect with a review of his coaching license by the Nigerian Football Federation NFF as he is deemed to have failed the threshold to be a coach. In basketball, Federal Capital Territory Abuja will host 16 teams that will jostle for honors as Mark the Ball Championship kicks off. Competition organizers announced 16 teams for the basketball tournament. Local Organizing Committee Secretary Umar Abdullahi says 16 teams have been picked to participate in Mark the Ball Championship after a long wait of no tournaments. Air Warriors, First Bank, Sunshine Angels, Novena Queens, Kada Angels, Benue Princess and Plateau Rocks are part of the team selected for the championship. Others are FCT Rocks, IGP Queens, Taraba Hurricanes, Nasarawa Amazons and many more. Mark the Ball Basketball Championship will dunk off at the Indoor Sports Hall of MKO Abiola Stadium on January 15, 2022. Maiden Nigerian blind powerlifting and bench press trials holding at the National Stadium Surulere, Lagos is having 150 blind powerlifters drawn across Nigeria. Coordinator Barrister Silva Ezekwe says first of its kind trials in Nigeria is aimed at selecting the lifters that will represent the country at the forthcoming 4th IBSA Powerlifting and Bench Press World Cup and 2nd African Continental Powerlifting and Bench Press Championships holding between March 22nd and 29th, 2022 in Alexandria, Egypt. That's sport news. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
Well, that's it on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Have a good night.